Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we are using a shadow clone jutsu because we no longer have one Naruto video on the channel. Now, we have two. I'm 27, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, it made my heart sing with joy, seeing the love being spread throughout the Naruto Ninja Council video. I had low expectations for that. It was purely a passion project. To see it find its audience was incredible because through that, I feel like I found my OG Naruto loving family. I saw people talking about Ultimate Ninja Storm, Clash of Ninja. There were people talking about Uzumaki Chronicles, and of course, the game that we're talking about today, Naruto Rise of a Ninja, developed by, yes, your eyes do not deceive you, Ubisoft. I don't know what else to say other than early 2000s Ubisoft had the Sharingan. They could see and do anything they wanted with extreme talent. They made Batman Vengeance, which is a goated Batman game, in my opinion. Oh, they also made Prince of Persia. Oh, and Beyond Good and Evil. Oh, wait, didn't they make also Assassin's Creed? And you're telling me they made dope action RPG anime games? I mean, they were on another level. Now they're like the copycat ninja, but I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like finally we get to right a historical wrong here. Because when Naruto Rise of a Ninja came out and Broken Bond, its sequel, came out, it was around the time that Ultimate Ninja Storm was gaining a lot of traction with the mainstream audience, and rightfully so. I picked that game up day one. It is an amazing series. However, when you were playing Rise of a Ninja, you were playing the poor man's Naruto game, because Naruto was so popular back in the early 2000s that, yes, this is an Xbox 360 exclusive Naruto game, whereas PlayStation got Ultimate Ninja Storm. It was that poppin', and of course we know GameCube got Clash of Ninja and Clash of Ninja Revolution, so hey, they were monetizing this franchise in the right way because all those games were amazing as far as I'm concerned. But I remember specifically, if you were on the Rise of Ninja one, you were playing the budgeted Naruto game. Well, it's time to speak into your soul and let you know that while I love Ultimate Ninja Storm, these two are on the same playing field. They are equals because they do different things, both extremely well done though. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here, you're into anime games, JRPGs, nostalgic, retrospective content, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing, and if you don't, thanks for lending some of your time today. Let's get into it, starting off with the complete in-box experience. I love the box art here. Of course, you got Naruto doing the shadow clone jutsu. I love the scowl. Then you have the Hidden Leaf Village at the bottom here. Just very artsy, the colorful background here where they could have just filled it out with more of the Hidden Leaf Village, but I just like the entire layout of the art here. Now, the back here is in English and French because this was a copy from Canada that I did buy. Don't make my mistake because as you can see here, look at how cramped all of the text is. That's not good for complete in-box filming, so your boy needs to break out the phone for a little picture-in-picture. Pardon my shaky hand in advance. The first great Naruto game. Wow. I'm speechless at that. I mean, that's coming after Uzumaki Chronicles. That's coming after Ultimate Ninja, Clash of Ninja. I mean, there have been a lot of amazing Naruto games, but Ubisoft's pounding their chest saying, you want competition with Ultimate Ninja Storm, you've got it. So here we go. For the first time ever, relive the anime adventure and experience Naruto's transformation from noisy dropout to powerful and respected ninja. Travel the perilous path of the ninja and uncover the nine-tailed fox spirit sealed within. Now, towards the middle here, there is a bit of a word missing, I would say here. It says Rome Leaf Village, and its surrounding environments in full 3D recreated straight from the anime. And I feel like it should say the Hidden Leaf Village. Maybe someone can let me know if I'm wrong. Has anyone ever just casually in a conversation said, yo, let's go to the Leaf Village? Maybe, but not me. Now, here on the bottom, it says, embark on all new adventures and relive missions from the beginning, as well as challenging friends in head-to-head online multiplayer, and train with Kakashi-sensei and learn to execute hand signs with your controller sticks. Now, we can rely on the overhead camera for the rest as we get into the manual. So here, great disc art. Love it. Then, here we have the manual. Is the manual good? Is it goated? The answer is like in the middle. It's not colorful, but it's got some fun stuff in it, right? So you go through the game modes. There's story mode, fight mode. So if you just want to do combat, there's online play, which I wouldn't recommend. The story mode walks through all of the characters from Squad 7. There's Iruka, Hokage. That's how you know this is OG Naruto, because like Iruka's on page 2. I don't know if that would happen nowadays. But you have your foes like Gaara, Orochimaru. They walk you through the jutsus and how you perform those, which is one of the highlights of the game. All the collectibles that you can get in the Hidden Leaf Village. The senseis and villagers, like people who can teach you new ninja abilities. The popularity of your character in the Hidden Leaf Village, your character being Naruto, sorry, brain fart. Shops, the Hokage himself, the actual world map. This game is just, I think, so ahead of its time. I feel it would be so appreciated nowadays. And then here you have the move sets for all of the characters that you want to go ahead and use. And look how many there are. I mean, it was a fighting game at the end of the day, and I call it an action RPG, but you can see here, plenty of characters, and then general game hits, a note section. I had this Orochimaru action figure here, but also on the back, we have the Naruto movie called Ninja Clash in the Land of Snow, which I remember being underwhelmed by when I watched that for the first time, but there were so many Naruto movies, it's hard to remember. So that's what you get in a complete in-box Naruto Rise of a Ninja copy. This and especially Broken Bond have really gone up in price. This less so. I bought this so long ago and it was in 2020. The price wouldn't even be relevant at this point in time. So let's get into the game now. We've delayed long enough. I just got to put some respect on this game's Jutsu system, because as much as I love what other games have done, where you just typically press triangle, you press the attack button, and boom, there is your Jutsu. In Naruto Rise of a Ninja, what you do, for those who don't know, is you hold the left trigger, and that readies yourself to do the hand signs. And you do the hand signs with the 2 thumbsticks. And it's so brilliant, and it works just as good as you'd imagine. So if you want to do a Shadow Clone Jutsu, you hold LT, you press up, then to the right, and you see an aura start to expand into these bars. And when it lands in those bars, you release. Then there's a kind of cheap QTE that I wasn't a fan of, where you have to select 2 random buttons for you to hit, and you have to hit them just perfectly, at least in single player. In multiplayer, it kind of gives me that Ultimate Tenkaichi vibe of rock, paper, scissors. We don't like that. We don't want that. But ladies and gentlemen, let me just say that this Jutsu system rocks. Beyond anything else in this game, to me, this is the defining characteristic. The way that you do Jutsus, because you can't Jutsu spam. You can't, because you need to clear your enemy out of the way and be really quick. And it's just like in the anime, like where you see them just like drop these hand symbols so fast in combat. It's like, okay, makes sense how they're doing it so quickly, because they're feeling the pressure. It's the same way in this game. You beat them up with like a hand-to-hand combo, you clear the distance, and you're like, okay, quick, I gotta do the hand signs and get this jutsu off. And if you do get it off and it lands, like I've had these close calls where an enemy's just about to hit me and I land the jutsu and it cuts away. Yes, whew, that is an awesome feeling. I can't describe how it would translate online, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I don't know if that was busted or whack, but as someone who played it in single player, I dug it. I did Broken Bond multiplayer, and I got just rinsed constantly. That's all I remember from that. I was getting bodied, but here in Rise of a Ninja, no one's playing it. I don't even think the servers are online, so I'm just talking single player, and in single player, it works really, really well. Now, the single player here is the star component because you have an open world to explore. And it reminds me a little bit of, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but Mario Odyssey. Like, as you're going around the world, I don't think this was intentional, but it's almost like this 3D platformer collectathon, because as Naruto gets abilities like double jumping and Shadow Clone Jutsu, where you can knock down certain walls and then you upgrade that jutsu and you can knock down stronger walls, or running on walls, running on water. You can retroactively go back to certain areas that you've explored, either in the Hidden Leaf Village or on the outskirts of it, and get new collectibles. I love this component here. It's not Metroidvania-like, but there is a collectathon aspect here that is really well designed, because it ties into the progression of the game, where you are going to train, complete side missions or main story missions. You're going to level up your character, level up their jutsus, and when you do that, you can go out and do plenty of other things. And I absolutely adore that about this game. It just has a good feel of progression, but it also weirdly harkens back to the simple 3D collectathon times. And it reminds me of, again, a more modern one in Mario Odyssey, which I think is a compliment, because for those who don't know, like I like Mario. I don't think it's bad, but it's not like my cup of tea. It's not the thing I geek out over and go like, oh, more Mario, yeah, let's go. Like I like Mario and Rabbids, but I don't think that's like your traditional Mario game. So to me, I think that's a pretty high compliment to hand out. So it's that kind of formula out in the open world. And as you're going around, you're gonna earn money. You can spend this at the ramen shop and get food to heal yourself in between fights. And you can also go ahead and buy equipment, strength for your combos. You can buy new skills. You can also train with different senseis like Iruka or the Hokage. You can challenge friends in the Hidden Leaf Village. This is where I learned about the depth of the combo system, because I'll say it with no shame, all right? Here we go. I got absolutely murked by Sakura Haruno, and I say that with no shame because this game is not afraid to body you. And I love that because it didn't feel like it was unjust bodying. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm getting cheaped out here. I had to learn the combo system. If you press up and Y, you'll kind of zip around your opponent, and it's a really good counterattack. But if you hit the button too quickly, you might be striking too soon and the enemy can get away, or you may have just missed them. And if you press maybe X afterwards, there's a slow wind up to that and you may be able to get out of the way. I just feel like, how do I word this? Because I'm not a true fighting game expert. I've played a lot of them and I love them, but almost like the frame data here and the technique involved in the fighting is a higher level than I was expecting for an RPG. Is it like a top tier fighting game? No, but there is depth to it that, again, I don't think we talk enough about. And when I was fighting Sakura and I was trying 10 plus times, you know, I started to realize, like, okay, maybe I got to slow it down. I can't button mash my way through this. Yeah, it took me 10 plus times. That's stubbornness at its finest. But, you know, I finally got through to her, and it was when I was dialed in and I was really paying attention to the moves and I was clearing the distance and I was casting the jutsus, or sorry, not casting, but using the jutsus. To me, that felt really good because I recognized the depth of the combat system. So you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff in the open world. You're also going to be collecting ancient coins that can be used at these shops as well to upgrade your character or get different unlocks. And as you go through all of this stuff, you're going to gradually increase your popularity, because one thing that Rise of a Ninja captures really well is how we often forget, because the man's always yelling, I'm going to be a Hokage, and everyone's like, yeah, Naruto, yeah. Is this dude was hated at first. And so the game actually opens that way with my man's hands in his pockets and he's just walking around with his head down. He's dejected. He's a dropout. He just wants to be loved. And, you know, when you see that in the game, you're like, wow, this is really like the beginning. And it's easy to forget with how much filler there is and how much Shippuden there is and Boruto. Like, wow, there's been a ton. So it's really nice to just see where it all started, the humble beginnings of Naruto, and see how he grows into a fine young lad who is loved by his peers and sees his extreme talent. Main reason I was drawn to Rise of a Ninja and Broken Bond especially is it's the same thing I loved about, I think it was Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 or 3. Someone can let me know in the comments, but I love when fighting games incorporate fighting common enemies, because I feel like it works so well with the systems they've made. Maybe it's not combo heavy on the receiving end. Like if I'm fighting a common grunt, yeah, they're probably not going to dice me up. And I like that. So many fighting games make you just rotate around the roster and they try to ham-fist it into all these different narrative sections that don't make any sense. And I loved how, I think it was Mortal Kombat Armageddon did it. They had like a whole beat 'em up section to the adventure mode, or maybe it was Shaolin Monks. It was one of those two where you just run around and there was actually like a beat 'em up story section. And then when you got to the end of levels, it was like a true fighting game. It felt like the fighting game was a part of an overall package, and that would make sense because like the word fighting is in the genre name. Like I should be fighting more than just characters on the main roster. So this game offers that as well. Rise of Ninja lets you fight bandits and you'll beat them up and you'll get XP and you'll level up and you'll get loot from them and money, and you can spend that money elsewhere. And look, not the biggest deal to many people, but to me, it's, again, like, let's go to another example. It's why I love Star Wars Battlefront, because in Battlefront, you're not playing as Obi-Wan or playing as Anakin Skywalker. You're playing as a clone trooper and the many divisions within the clone troops. I love that stuff, man. To me, that connects with the universe more. and it makes it feel like the world is bigger than just like 10 different characters. So to me, it brings it to life a lot more. And it reminded me of one of my favorites, probably a top 3 favorite Naruto game for me, which is Uzumaki Chronicles. In Uzumaki Chronicles, you had a world map, and you would go far and beyond the Hidden Leaf Village. That game was way ahead of its time, too. And you would go out there completing missions, and there were random encounters, and a lot of your time in that game was spent fighting common grunts, and it was amazing. This game, I feel, takes that formula, evolves it, gives you the full open world instead of like a map with a bunch of segmented parts there, because you don't got to deal with that Kabuto maze mission anymore. That thing was, no thank you. So they managed to, I think, create something that blends so many elements of Naruto. You see a little Ultimate Ninja Storm with its depth of its combat, at least in the original, in my opinion, you know, and then you see a little bit of Uzumaki Chronicles and its structure and its RPG elements. I just really love what this game stands for and how it manages to capture the OG Naruto experience. And while you did get open world, I'll put this in quotes, Naruto games, like Ultimate Ninja Storm did have an open world. I just thought it was boring to explore, man. You were collecting chakra scrolls endlessly. Like that was your main objective to progress in the game, either that or running up trees. And Rise of Ninja has running up trees, and I was corrected in the comments that running up trees has been around since Ultimate Ninja 2. So it looks like I'm due for a return to some of the older games because I thought it was Ultimate Ninja Storm, but that just shows how long it's been. But this game's calling card is that Jutsu symbol system and its open world. It's just a lot of fun to be in, and I adore it. So what I'll say is this, ladies and gentlemen, I just love this game a lot because, again, it represents one of my favorite eras in Naruto. It does lean a bit into using the anime cutscenes a little too more often than I think it should, but it has its own cutscene system there. And I just think overall, it's fun because it's different, and it represents a true Naruto experience that we wanted. Not that you wouldn't get open worlds in, again, like I said, Ultimate Ninja Storm, or Ultimate Ninja 3 had a very small Hidden Leaf Village you could explore. I remember my mind was blown as a kid. I thought this was so cool. But I feel Rise of a Ninja captures it the best. Like, it throws you in there. It doesn't really make you waste any time. Like, immediately you are exploring, collecting things, seeing things you want to get at one point or another, and they gradually spoon feed you those, and it's fun just to go back and unlock more things that you missed in the past. So it is an absolute blast, and I really do recommend you give it a shake if you have yet to. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts on Naruto Rise of a Ninja. What's the next Naruto game you want me to go to? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, take fantastic care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out. And believe it.
Weeb alert.